Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Common denominator, a topic that I've been meaning to do for a little bit. Last night I was talking to a good friend, black male, and we were discussing the topic of women. And we got around to talking about black women, and then we were talking about natural hair. I wanted to just this is a very, very sore, sensitive topic that a lot of black people struggle with, and a lot of it's rooted, a lot of the struggle, a lot of the pain is rooted in events from the past, racism, yeah. So that's pretty much what's going on with that. So my position, what I was sharing was the paradigm shift, what's happening right now, and why we were talking about the gender war, the tension between black men and black women, why it's so. There's a lot of theories. I don't really. His theory was it had something to do with white people creating conditions for, through legislation and such, creating the division between black men and black women. That may be true. There may be some facts, some truth in that. I don't know. I can't say that. I don't think it's just one thing. I think it's several things. One of the things I do want to talk about is the nature of the country, the nature of our demographics, the reality of interracial dating, competition, basically a race competition. There's a lot going on here. Beauty standards. All right, let me start from the beginning. So my position is that natural hair on black women comes in a lot of different styles. I don't know all the different styles, but what my position is that black women and black men are going through, of this generation, not the 60s, not the 70s, of this generation, are going through a paradigm shift, are going through a new experience together, and there are growing pains associated with this experience. Black men, there was a point in time where black women and black men disliked their own God-given hair. There was a point in time, you look back at old media, old pictures, you'll see pictures of black men with their hair straightened. Okay? There was a point in time where everyone was ashamed. My position is that this is how God made us. God makes beautiful things. I think this conversation got started last night when we were talking about colored women of other races and interracial marriage. And my friend mentioned how, the kids, the women, it's easier for them to do their hair, blah, blah, blah. And, it's just more work for black women, I think. And I can't remember exactly what he said. I think he said something about the kids having better hair. And I had to stop him there And because I understand where he's coming from. He's coming from the old mindset of, being brainwashed. And he admits that. He understands that. He's trying to come out of it. It's a process for everyone. I had to come out of that too. One of the best ways to come out of that is to look at beautiful black women with natural hair. It's the best way because it shows you that a natural hair that's been styled, appropriately, not just an unkept rugged afro or something like that. It's got to be styled, and we drew the comparison of white people, straight hair, with straight hair hairstyles that are unprocessed, unstyled. When I mean processed, I'm not talking about chemicals, but I'm talking about, maybe some heat, some styling, maybe some, whatever, application of natural products. So what we were discussing was there are white women who can have short hairstyles or certain hairstyles that look boring and bland, and yet their hair is straight. And to draw the comparison, there are black women and men, black women, we're talking about women in this discussion, who can have a natural hairstyle that's also boring and bland, that doesn't present itself favorably for people to look at as an example of where they should be going, if that makes sense, and what is possible in terms of beauty and expression. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder, and if a beholder looks at an unprocessed afro or just unkept, uncombed African hair, and if they think that's beautiful, okay, great. To me, personally, I don't think that's beautiful. I see a person that needs a comb in their hair and some attention to their hair. Now, just going back to what we were saying about that was a quick segue, going back to the kids, mixed kids, colored women of other races, and we're talking about women who have real color, who are dark brown, some of them even black, especially Southeast Asian and women from India who are black, the same color as African Americans, the same exact color. So he was mentioning that their hair would be, a different way and blah, blah, blah. And I was telling him, I was like, well, having had, been with a person with straight hair, a woman with straight hair, there's a process that goes into that too. They sit there working at it for a while to get it to where they want it. And it involves heat. It involves the blow dryer. They got to shower first, get it wet, and then they blow dry it, and then they style it. There's work involved. Black women who are using straight hair styling will have a few more steps in processing their hair to achieve a certain straight hair look. And there's more time and more money involved, and more stress and more drama, and it's just, it's a process. But one of the benefits I was telling him was that you can have a black woman, and I'll start to go through some of these images on screen. One of the images that really stuck out to me was this woman here, beautiful black woman, beautiful hair. I would totally date this woman. Her hair, you can tell it's been processed a little bit, but essentially it's still an African hairstyle. No different than a white woman who's got straight hair, who processes it a little bit, throws some gel in it, or throws some mousse or whatever they use. I don't know. The blow dryer, blah blah blah. it's processed, but it's still essentially European straight hair. So what we're seeing now is the birth of a new look, the birth of black women are coming into themselves. They're starting to experiment with natural hairstyles, natural beauty, and it looks good. And what I was telling him is that once you start to see what's possible, what the possibilities are, and this is for black women and black men, once black women see the possibilities and they adopt it, and they have a beautiful face like this woman here in the picture, they're attractive. Once they can see what the possibilities are, then they can feel more comfortable with themselves. They can feel more comfortable with their hair. They can feel more comfortable getting ready in the morning. It's not going to take as long. And if they want to bounce back and forth between a straight hairstyle or natural, hey, there's that option too. And I told them, here, black women have that option of being able to go from a natural hairstyle to straight if they want, and there's nothing wrong with that. I think the problem is when your hair is perpetually straight. If it's always straight and there's no deviance from straight, there's no going back to your roots, quote unquote, going back to who you are and styling it that way. I think it's beautiful if you can go back and forth. And I told him, I said, hey, you know what? A beautiful black woman with natural hair that looks feminine. Let me say that looks feminine. Because there's some black women with natural hair. We're still in the experimental phase. There's some women with natural hair that look a little bit masculine. It looks like a man's haircut. And we mentioned Sinead O'Connor. And white women who have their short hair, natural hair, and they look like men. They have boys' haircuts. So there is a difference between hairstyling that would be more reflective of masculine versus feminine in any ethnicity. So when black women are finding, it's a beautiful process. I like seeing what's happening, but they're finding themselves. They're finding what's beautiful. They're finding what's attractive, what's feminine. Some things are in, some things are out, some things will work, some things won't. It just takes time. And what I told him was a black woman who's comfortable wearing her natural hair and she's beautiful and she's unapologetically wearing her natural hair and wearing it well, that is the strongest statement you can make without saying words as to your strength, as to your confidence. What I've noticed is in this, let me dip into the interracial component of this. With, when you look at interracial dating, black men have gone after women with certain types of hair, because they look exotic. Black men aren't alone in this either. I don't want people to think that this is just a black male phenomenon. It's not, because white men go after Asian women. White men are going after black women. Everyone wants that exotic look. It's just a thing. It's a thing, and there's signs that it just could be a phase. It might just be a phase, because what's happening now, I noticed myself, I'm not even sure if this is something I should say publicly, but I'm going to say it anyway. Not one to really shy away from controversy. I find myself just I'm at that saturation point with mixed women. Kind of just tired of seeing them. Mixed people, honestly. No offense, I love you guys, but I think you've been over-marketed. I'm at the same place with white women, kind of tired of seeing white women on TV. I'm just tired. I'm tired of the over-marketing of mixed people and white women. I think the novelty's wearing off, and when I was talking to my friend last night, it was funny because he actually said the same thing. He said he's kind of tired of seeing mixed women too. They're everywhere. They used to be, when and these are people, they're human beings. I'm not trying to dismiss them as human beings. I love you, enjoy your life, live your life, be free, be happy. I'm glad you have opportunity in the media and this and that. But this goes for anything. Look at the Kardashians. They're over marketed, and it's to the point where people are just tired of seeing them and hearing about them. And it can happen to anyone, anything. Doesn't matter what it is. So mixed women just kind of, they're being over marketed. It's wonderful that you're mixed and you're beautiful. Okay, great. I'm happy for you. Be happy. Glad you have opportunity. Go for it. But I'm at the point now where I kind of just want to see beautiful black women in the media who look like me. Brown skin, beautiful black women. I'm tired of the fill-ins. I'm tired of the mixed women who are filling in for black women. I just want to see beautiful black women. Because, when you see all these mixed people, it tends to make it seem like they're trying to replace black people with these people. And they are a part black, and we welcome them and even call them black. It's just what it is. It's a thing. But I don't want to be replaced. I don't want to go anywhere. I don't want black women to be replaced. I'm sure mixed people aren't thinking about replacing us, but that's what it seems like is happening with the white media who puts them out there. Anyway, back to the natural hair. I think I gave my friend a litmus test. He's still coming out of his... He actually asked me to screen copy this picture right here of this beautiful woman and to send it to him. He said he needed some inspiration. I told him, I was like, hey, look, right now is a great time to date black women because I believe in cycles, and I believe this is a great cycle right now. I'm a business person. I'm involved in business, and I look for opportunity. I think this is a great opportunity right now to date black women due to the numbers. There are a lot of black women who are educated, who are successful, who are beautiful, who've even ventured off into the natural hair, and they realize that, and it's good that they've realized this. They've realized that black men are just basically going to do whatever they want, regardless of all the complaining, regardless of the videos they make and the attempted shaming tactics. This stuff doesn't work. You're not going to shame black men into dating you. It's just not going to work. But what I think is going on, I know I'm bouncing all over the place, but what I think is going on is that black men, once they started to date these exotic women, they became hooked on the exotic women because they're exotic. It's the same reason why people want things that are not in abundance. They want, to compare it to cars, luxury cars, certain type of cars, they'll only a 300 made or only 200 made. Exclusivity. That's what mixed women and women who looked a certain way used to represent. Now that they're everywhere, they're just kind of common and, whatever. Hey, they're still pretty, but they're just like, they're everywhere now. So what happens is when you're everywhere, you kind of go down in popularity because you're not exotic anymore. You're exotic, but you're not hard to come by, is what I should say. There's so many of you now that it's not the same. So you're still beautiful, blah blah blah, but it's just not the same because there's more numbers. In a way, your stock is kind of dropping. So anyway, not to be offensive, but that's just the reality situation. So back to the business thing. I know I've met a lot of beautiful black women who were professionals and they're single. And this is like a great time to date black women. Black men who are listening. This is a great time because there are beautiful black women out there who are single, who are looking for husbands, and black women have this. Sometimes I can't understand it. this undying loyalty to black men. I I really don't get it, because it almost seems like you would just date, whoever was attractive, and it almost seems like you would do that, But you can't make black women think the same way black men think. Black men and black women think very differently. There's, the loyalty to black men is very interesting. I guess it's good in a way, but it also has a way of hurting them. But now, I guess this is just to go back to what I was talking about before. I guess this is a good time to date them, because there's so many of them that are available, and they're great catches. Yet there are, and of course you got to find the ones, who check all the boxes and what you want and everything. But I think right now is just a great time, and black women are working out now. You see them on Instagram; they're working out, taking care of their bodies, which is great. I think. Anyway, I'm digressing. Let me go back. I'm going to go back, and I'm going to try to wrap this up here in a few minutes. One of the main reasons, going back to natural hair, one of the main reasons why I think a lot of black men were leaving is because if you compare, you have two women. One woman is putting in weave that looks like the hair of the other woman who grows it naturally. One woman, subconsciously to a lot of people, the one who's sewing hair into her head, or who's wearing a wig to look like this other woman, it appears as weakness. If that makes you upset, if you want to call me a hater, if you want to call me a certain type of black man, go ahead, fine. There's a comment section below, have at it. But whether it's subconsciously or just, whether it's just out in the open, a lot of people would see that as weakness. You're acquiescing to the beauty standards of another race. And I know there's all these excuses about blah, blah, blah. The workplace won't let me wear my hair natural, blah, 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 blah. I don't find that to be the case anymore. I think things are really changing. A lot of women are wearing their hair natural, not really having problems with it. I think some workplaces have problems with dreadlocks because some of them do look dirty. Sometimes it can look very dirty, just depending on how they're maintained. But yes, there is some racism in the workplace. There has been, and there probably will continue to be. But I don't see why someone would have a problem with beautiful hair like this. I really don't. Or even hair like this. I don't see why that would be a problem. It's beautiful. I think as long as it's clean and it's well kept, it shouldn't be a problem. But we're learning, just to kind of wrap this up, we're learning about ourselves, we're learning about our hair, we're in the experimental phase. We're learning to see what looks good, both black men and black women. We're learning to see what looks good. What looks good, we hold on to, we keep, we celebrate, it's beautiful. What doesn't look good, we get rid of, and we continue the process of experimenting. I think a lot of black women look really good with their natural hair. I'm happy to see it. I'm happy. It's confidence. I talk to them. I've even complimented strangers before, because I as a black man, I appreciate this. I need to see this. Black men need to see this. We need to be educated. We need to be deprogrammed from these other beauty standards. We need this. Black women who are doing this are affecting the psyche of black men in so many ways. And black men, and I'll do my best personally, and black men, if you're listening, if if you agree with what I'm saying, and there's a black man who makes fun of or who looks down on black women who wear their God-given natural hair, I think it's your duty to educate these other black men and to show them where they're at, where they are. Excuse me. To show them, hey, look, this is how it's supposed to be. This is natural. This is beautiful. This is what we have to get used to seeing this. We have to appreciate the beauty that's here. This is what was intended by the Creator when He made this hair. Get used to it. Pick a style. Look around. See something that you like. And appreciate it for what it is. And black women need that affirmation that it is beautiful. Some of them don't. Some of them are completely fine and they're at that place where they just don't care anymore what you think. And that's sad. It's sad that that's happened, but it has happened. You know, they've endured a lot of abuse from black men and from what I call the gatekeepers, black women who are brainwashed by beauty standards of other races and who themselves look down on these black women and try to reel them back in, bring them back to the weave, back to the wigs. There are black women who have this role of gatekeepers, and they need to be checked as well. So this is a movement, and it's a beautiful thing, and it should have happened. It's happening now. I hope we embrace it. I hope we continue with it. It looks good. Black women who are wearing your hair natural and you're smiling, you're proud, you're beautiful. I love you. I support you. And I want you to continue to be happy. Continue to wear your natural hair. Crystal and Karazin, if you're listening to this, I found you because I was searching natural hair. And I saw one of your videos, and that's what interested me in you. I saw you wearing natural hair, and you looked very nice. And I subscribed, and I've been a subscriber ever since. And yeah, we still need to do that meetup. I'm just, hey, 30, 45 minutes away. Let's do it. Let's make that meetup happen. Anyway, if you like what you heard, or if you disagree, and if you want to comment on this, go ahead and comment in the section below. Go ahead and subscribe. This is Common Denominator. Talk about a lot of different things in the black community, primarily focusing on what the improvements that are needed and how we can be better as black people. And on that note, this is Common Denominator. I will see you in the next video.